पहले मैं कहना चाहूँगी कि बहुत लोग यहाँ आए हैं यह सोच के कि मैं पूरा कार्यक्रम करूँगी, लेकिन मैं केवल डांस नहीं करूँगी आज, मैं कुछ कहना भी चाहूँगी, क्योंकि बहुत बार नृत्य और नृत्यांगनाओं को केवल एक एंटरटेनमेंट का सोर्स माना गया है। बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट सेमिनार होता है और उसके आखिर में एक एंटरटेनमेंट इवनिंग होता है जिसके लिए नृत्यांगना को बुलाया जाता है। उस धारणा को मैं थोड़ा सा बदलना चाहूँगी। नृत्य में बहुत सोच जाती है, इसका जो प्रोसेस है बहुत लंबा है, बहुत पेन्सटेकिंग है और इसको बहुत सूझबूझ के साथ सीखा जाता है, सिखाया जाता है। और जब मुझे पूछा गया कि मैं क्या कुमारस्वामी जी के लिए कुछ बोलूँगी, तो मैं तो एकदम स्टम्प्ड रह गई, क्योंकि इतने बड़े एक स्कॉलर के लिए मैं कुछ कह सकती हूँ, ये मैंने कभी लाइफ में नहीं सोचा था। लेकिन जब ये अवसर आया तो मैंने पढ़ा तो बहुत था, लेकिन और पढ़ाई बहुत जोर शोर से मैंने करी और ये अवसर मिला मुझे और बहुत कुछ जानने का। और आगे जैसे इन्होंने कह ही दिया है कि मैं जिज्ञासु हूँ और मैं जानना और चाहती हूँ, तो उस संदर्भ और उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट से मैं आज की एक छोटी सी जो बात है कहना चाहूँगी। इस डिस्टिंग्विश्ड इंटेलेक्चुअल ऑडियंस के बीच में मैं खड़ी हूँ, यही बड़ी बात है। प्रोफेसर दास को मैं सुनी हूँ पिछले बार जब मैं आई थी। He is a legend in himself. So please pardon me, sir, if I say anything that is not right from your angle. But I hear that you have brought the Dance of Shiva into the curriculum of the Allahabad University, and I think that requires a round of applause, because somebody who thinks that these things are relevant and they should be read by our youth is something absolutely laudable. And I, as a teacher, dancer, performer, I don't know how many copies of Dance of Shiva I would have gifted to my students. I'm delighted to be here today at the request of the Allahabad Museum to deliver the Ananda K. Kumaraswamy 2015 lecture on the Dance of Shiva. But first, let me pay my tribute to my gurus, and to all the gurus who have breathed in us the wonder of knowledge. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatītam Triguna Rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. I began with this little shloka to the Guru, since to many of us in the audience, somewhere Kumaraswamy has been a guru, or he has been the guru of our gurus. So this is a little prayer for all the gurus.
Shiva. Explanation of iconography. Shiva remains an eternal mystery. His duality is bewildering. On the one hand, he is Nirguna, without form, both omniscient and omnipresent. He is also Saguna, with form. And in this, he is often depicted as the vortex of the universe, the Nataraja, king of dancers. His dance depicting cosmic energy. The image of Nataraja is indeed very profound. It portrays the deity not as a static entity, but in kinetic animation, which could reflect equally the intercosmic dance of the galaxies or the subatomic dance of the neutrons. Shiva represents the proto-male. His phallus, the lingam, is said to be the axis of the universe, the fount of regeneration. From destruction springs creation. Break to make, break and make, break, make. The eternal story of creation. As the Nataraja, his outstretched arms represent the twin forces of creation and destruction. In the one, he holds a rattle drum. Representing the great sound, the logos from which all creation springs. The Big Bang from which time and space both flash into being. Shiva's drum is the symbol of creative activity. In the other, Shiva holds fire, symbol of destruction, the inevitable counterpart of creation. The third hand in the Abhaya Mudra says, "Do not fear. I shall protect as I shall destroy." And his fourth hand points to his raised foot, which in turn points to salvation, symbolic of the release from the spell of Maya. Shiva's other foot dances on the demon Apasmara Purusha, who represents our egos. Only by suppressing one's avidya, ego, can one attain the Godhead. Shiva's matted locks, a nimbus of straight lines curving in space, connote the complexities of human existence. These locks are crowned with the crescent moon, denoting the waxing and waning and the shifting of time. And from those locks sprouts the river goddess Ganga, representing eternity. Eternity and purity. The cobra snakes coiling on Shiva's arms, neck and body again represent vibrant and dynamic cosmic energy. The Kundalini, the power which resides at the base of the spine and which, when aroused, leads to the transmutation of consciousness. These snakes also represent change, and adorned by these snakes, Shiva presides over change. He wears a garland of skulls, a reminder that death comes to one and all. He also wears one male earring and another female earring, symbolizing the concept of Ardhanarishwara, the creative fusion of male and female entities into a single divinity. Shiva's third eye depicts him as a god who is all-seeing and wise. This is thus the seat of wisdom. Shiva opens his third eye to destroy evil. The circle of flames around Shiva symbolizes both the arch of nature and the continuity and eternal motion of the universe through the paths of creation, preservation and destruction, the vast unending cycles of time. His Vahana or vehicle is the bull, Nandi, symbol of strength and constancy. And Shiva's consort is the radiant Parvati, the Earth Mother Goddess.
Yes, because both talked about India passionately, and both really wanted to throw light on what was best in India and the way people viewed India from the outside. Coming back again to the dance of Shiva, it is said that Shiva in his dance happens in 3 locations. The first is the dance of the lone pulse in the freezing environs of the remote Kailasa pinnacle atop the magnificent Himalayas. There, amidst the ocean of white snows, the dance of eternity is performed to the Vismaya, wonder of the cosmos. Shiva's lone dance is the dance of the Panchatattva, the 5 elements of creation, the dance of ether, air, water, fire and earth. Its moment is Pradosham, that wonderful time when evening mingles with night. At that moment, when all energies are coming home to roost, Shiva stirs the cosmos with a unique realization of the unity of matter. I've been very fortunate to have very, very wonderful gurus. Talking about Pradosham, as I was writing and reading the paper, what came to my mind is my first teacher, Srimati Swarna Saraswati, who hailed from Tanjavur and who was a Devadasi herself, and who saw the entire period when the dance moved from the temple to the proscenium stage. She used to talk to us a lot about dance imagery. And it is in one of those conversations that I remember her saying, Madhura Madhura Murali Duna Baje Atirajat Ghanshyam Tamala Kanchan Bela Bani Brajavala Kanchan Bela Bani Brajavala. Now this I was doing just last week, and the split image that came to my mind is one of the Vanjikas, Shala Vanjikas from here, and I tried to recreate it on stage. So this is the connection that the dancer makes all of a sudden. So what you learn is not what you sit and learn, but what you imbibe. What you just store here as something that can be used at some other occasion, at some other moment when it just crosses and it comes back to you. Now, let me come back to the lecture, and let me now dance the dance of Shiva. Having said these three beautiful versions of his dance, I would like to do one of the very important compositions in Bharatanatyam, which talks of his dance in Chidambaram, the Ananda Tarandava, which is Nadanamadina, a very, very popular composition.
Krishna